The MyHallam podcast is run by students, for students, as a place to discuss the student experience, and we will also give insight into the various events happening within Sheffield Hallam University and across the city. Hello and welcome to the MyHallam podcast. I'm Rogan Hall. I'm joined here with Joe Hannigan.
Hello.
And Connor Christian.
Hi, you're right.
Today we're going to be talking about well-being and mindfulness and the things that we've used through studying and how we've dealt with stress. And we're also going to talk to Connor a bit about some of the groups that he's a part of. Firstly, so Joe, studying at university can be very, very stressful.
Yeah.
It can be very overwhelming, particularly when it comes to deadlines. Do you employ any tactics during those times to make the stress more manageable?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like sort of fate that pretty much every student will leave things till the last minute. Like, you are 99% chance you're probably going to do that for, if not all your modules, a few modules. But obviously, do try and get a head start. Try not to leave things till the last minute, because when you do get something completed early, that means you can go out and enjoy your time as a student a little bit more. You're not constantly got this cloud over you. But if you are feeling stressed and you're getting a bit bogged down, then don't be afraid to talk to someone about it. Like, even if it's just a minor stress, you don't have to make a big deal about it. But if you're struggling, talk to one of your tutors, talk to your academic advisor, which we've already spoke about in a previous episode. Just make, even if it's the tutor that's going to be grading this, just make them aware that you're struggling, because before Christmas I had a module to create a sound piece, and my hard drive failed and I lost everything. Completely start again from scratch situation. I went straight to my tutor and spoke to him about it, and very supportive. He suggested things to me that I didn't even think of to sort of deal with the issues that we're having. Get some outside perspective. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. That's always best thing to do. If you're just leaving stuff till the last minute, then it's probably going to be an all-nighter situation. So try and get things done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and so Connor, let's talk about Men Up North for a second. So who are Men Up North?
So Men Up North is a program set up for men in, not just in Sheffield but all over the region. I don't think it's spread to London yet, but it's definitely getting further and further south. It's an initiative created by a guy called Anga Kara, and he's from Sheffield. He's from where I was from, Pittsmore, when I was younger, and we didn't even know each other back then, but our paths have crossed, and he runs this initiative to help. I don't know how to explain it. It's pretty much to help men with their mental health, just by talking and learning different techniques of how to deal with stuff like anger, depression, anxiety, mental health, well-being, just any issues that you have. You can come along to these groups. You can be as vocal or as silent as you want. It's not like an Alcoholics Anonymous sort of situation. It's more of men coming together and having open and honest conversations with each other, and no one's judging anyone. So we leave all our egos at the door. No one's better than anyone else, and we sit there and have conversations about how we're feeling.
So in that sense, it's like a workshop.
Yeah, it's massive. It's more of a, how do I explain it? It's more of a,
like a gathering.
It's more of a gathering. It's more of like friends getting together, but you don't know anyone. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't think you're going to see these people again, or you probably won't. You maybe see them in the street, but then when you do see them, you know each other and you know how each other are feeling, so you're not embarrassed or shy because everyone feels the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from what you're saying, I'm gathering that it sort of takes off that pressure of this is an appointment, this is therapy. It's not anything like that. It's just literally a place to facilitate a conversation between people.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what I struggled with. I can admit now I couldn't before, but I can admit now that I had an ego about stuff like this. Like I wanted to be a strong guy. Didn't want to be emotional. I don't want to talk about my feelings because that's not what you're supposed to do, and that's what society tells you not to do. I was always told especially growing up as a kid, to, man up, get on with it,
Yeah.
And it one of those things that, and I feel a lot of people have grown up like that.
And that's where the name comes from, isn't it? It's a play on man up.
It's man up, men up north. Yeah. But yeah, you've got people from all walks of life. You've got executives in business suits sitting next to homeless men, and they're having an open and honest conversation with each other, and it's so nice to be able to sit in a room where no one's judging each other and no one's got an agenda. Everyone's just there to help themselves and help other people as well, and it makes you feel better because you sit there and you think, some of these guys have had 10 times worse experience than I have, and I know it's not about who's had the worst experience, but that for me, it's more of like, I can see people that have lost everything in their lives and they're still here, and that spurs me on to be all right and accepting in what's happening in my life. And especially when I were at university, coming to my end of my second, start of my third year, I was struggling with anxieties and I've grown up with that. Like, my mum and dad both suffer with depression, and it's always been a thing for me. I always understood it, but I never thought it had happened to me, if you understand.
Yeah.
Because I thought I understood, and I thought I was smart enough to get past that. But it's not about that. It's more about being aware of how you feel. And for a long time, I wasn't dealing with it. And one of my friends at work told me about this group, and I went, and I've not been able to stop going since.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better every day.
It's kind of cliche to say, if you're feeling bad, talk about it. But talking about it is the way you relieve that kind of that stress. You have to let it out, and finding these, groups, whether it's a group of friends or it's an arranged group like Men Up North, or it's just an academic advisor, as we spoke to Sam exactly. In the first episode. It's just really important to express feelings. Locking feelings away is probably the worst thing you can do. And as we were talking before, in this society and at the age where you're studying and things, it's very easy to get locked into a negative mindset.
Completely.
Especially when you've got deadlines coming
100%.
up. What do we have any sort of tips for people when it does come to them deadline days on how to just relieve the stress slightly? So, for example, for me, when studying, I listen to music, but not music like with lyrics, because when there's so much going on, I find that a bit overwhelming. It's like I listen to film scores. Film scores is a big one for me, or binary kind of music.
I'm exactly the same. So whereas, because I love music so much, any song that I listen to, I've got to sing. I sing the lyrics in my head even if I don't really know it. You know what I mean? And it's far too distracting to listen to music with lyrics. So I found that it's a really weird one, but I found that jazz music is so it's so like it's just instrumental. So like you can just listen to it, and you don't ever know what's coming next with jazz. It can take a form of its own, and it's just I found that having that in the background is amazing while you're studying, and also kind of like in 1930s, 1940s music, from Fallout.
Okay.
The game Fallout.
Yeah.
I'd stick like a Fallout playlist on.
Almost like ballroom dancing type music.
Yeah. And it's weird, but it works.
Yeah.
I'd probably second that again. I don't really listen to much music while I'm studying, because even without lyrics, I find it distracting. But if I am taking on a task where I can like manage with some music, it will like be either like some sort of like lo-fi hip hop or like smooth jazz, as Connor said, because there's not really a rhythm to get distracted by or anything. And just making sure I'm prepared, because sometimes if I just think, I'm gonna do some work now, like without preparing, then distractions just come so much easier because you've not like allotted that time. So make sure you just put some time aside, even put extra time aside, because you're going to procrastinate as well, because you might whip out your phone or whatever. So account for like all sort of situations that you're going to keep putting it off, and just like plan it, manage it. Music helps. Put music on. Do whatever you need to do just to spend that little bit of time.
Yeah.
As far as study tips go, I mean, what worked for me was I would start my day really early. So I'd come in at like 8 o'clock in the morning, but I'd be able to leave at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that spurred me on to, and no one's here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Because a lot of students come in at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
They're just going to sleep at that time, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, I had to push myself to do that because nothing else worked for me.
Yeah,
I couldn't come in and
that
get
is a very good
distracted.
point. I've made a point of getting up a bit earlier as well. I mean that, in first year you're probably not going to get up very early, to be honest.
No,
but
I didn't.
as you move into like your second year and stuff, just having a few days where you really encourage yourself to try and get up. Like even like I was forcing myself up to like get like up at 5, which is pretty early for me. And then going out into the city and just doing some photography while there was no one around.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and that's just kind of like making sure you're out doing stuff that you enjoy and enjoying yourself, and it, gets rid of all that sort of like procrastination energy.
Yeah, and it comes back to mindfulness and spending time with yourself. Spending time on yourself. It's not like a lot of the time when you're at university, you want to spend time with everyone that you've met, and you want to get to know them, and you want to go out all the time and all this stuff. You never really stop to ask yourself how you are.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like it's hard to do that as well because no one else is doing that. So
everyone's sort of in the same.
No one ever comes into your room in first year and goes, "How are you feeling?"
Yeah.
No.
Unless you've got that one friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but that's another thing. If you have, if you've met some friends in halls or whatever or on your course, talk to them. Study buddy sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That can always be useful for a lot of people.
A lot of the times, like, everybody kind of goes through the same thing, and we get worried so much that it's only us going through it, and that would be a burden for other people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to take that leap and be the first one to talk to a friend about something, to find out that that's exactly what they need to speak to you about as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to meet what I'd probably consider my best friend in first year in halls, and like it took a bit of time, but it eventually got to that point where you can talk on like a sort of more emotional, personal level, and when we talk about having conversations with people, it's not just what that person says to you might give you another perspective on your problems, but when you talk, sometimes you just unravel your own problems just by talking.
Yeah, it's like that with a lot of things. It's you've got to be honest with yourself. You can't bottle things away because that's when you've got a real problem.
And when you've already got stress of deadlines like looming constantly, like you've always got a cloud over your head with deadlines. Yeah. Regardless of how you're doing, don't like add fuel to the fire.
I think a lot of people when they first come to university struggle a lot with loneliness and feeling like they don't fit in.
Yeah.
I implore everyone to seek out societies because that is a major way that you can make friends because you're already going into something that you already like. It's not like you're going into something random. You can pick. We've got thousands of societies. There's knitting societies. There's there's like
Quidditch.
Yeah, there's Quidditch. There's gaming societies. It's not just sport. And if you already like something, you've already got common ground with people. So those people will accept you because you've got common ground with them. And there is no doubt that you could walk into a society and they will 100% someone will accept you in that group.
Yeah.
Great. So lifestyle also plays a key part. Yeah. Making sure that you're eating right and you're exercising right. And as a student, it's very easy to cheap out on the food. And survive off noodle type meals, and not really get like the nutrition that you need. But like I do think that a lot of the times there's a link. I can only speak for myself, but there's a link of when I'm not eating well and when I'm really mentally not feeling well.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's very easy to overlook that. But I do think it's important sometimes to. It's not like cheaping out on food, but just the canteen you could buy a banana and an apple for like 30p each or something like that. It's a lot cheaper than the muffin.
Oh, definitely.
And it's going to make such a difference. So what kind of lifestyle tips do you find do you guys tend to find like a certain food will change your mood and things like that? I know if I have a full, like, for me, if it's a hearty meal of like a lot of veg and stuff, like,
Yeah.
however I was feeling beforehand and after, it is different. Like,
Yeah.
I can feel the difference.
I don't know if it's this is the same with you or anyone else out there, but when I have a proper cooked meal, it reminds me of home. It reminds me of my mom cooking for me in the kitchen. It always has been like that, and sort of like the nostalgia just makes me feel better of having a properly cooked meal. So, maybe you don't have to do it every. It's hard being a student. We all know money is scarce as you're studying, and it's just always going to be like that. And a lot of people struggle, but I think maybe once or twice a week, definitely, take some time out with yourself. Like I said, cook yourself a meal and be proud of it. Get yourself. There's loads of things. There's a butcher's just on Sharravale Road. Is it Rodney's? Rodney's Butchers, right? They do the best meat, and it's cheap as well. There's a butcher's on. Where's the Sainsbury's? Just off Division Street.
Oh, more.
Oh no, just off Division Street.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know.
Just off Carver Street. Sorry. There's a butcher's there, and they don't just do meat. They do fish. They do like pies that you can just stick in the oven, and they'll tell you what goes well with all this stuff, and it's cheap there.
Yeah.
It is cheap to buy your meat, and you can just freeze it.
Yeah, well, I mean, cooking like dishes from scratch generally is gonna like save you a bit of money. Like obviously depending on what you're going for, but for me, yeah, like I've always been interested in cooking since quite young, to be honest. So coming to like live on myself were actually like exciting in that sense that I'd always be cooking for myself. But that don't mean you've got time to do it. So it is difficult when you haven't got time. But like, if you aren't a particularly good cook or anything, like find someone in your accommodation that is, because there probably will be someone who can cook.
Yeah, and they will cook for you as well. Like, people that like to cook.
Yeah, I cook so many meals like with my friend, and it's just like more enjoyable to do it that way.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, like we said, when you cook, you feel better. Another thing as well is like gyms. There's quite a few gyms in Sheffield, and like if you can like get that into your budget, which the prices aren't too bad, for just 2 pure gyms, and you can get that as cheap as £17 a month.
The shoe gym, collegiate.
Yeah,
and there's one here as well.
Yeah, you can pay for like a certain amount of time there. If you're not into gym, thousands of sports. If you're not into sports, go for a walk. Like we were saying on another episode, there's parks, there's Peak District. Buy a cheap bike, second hand.
Oh, definitely. There's always bikes. There's always bikes on Icky Road.
Yeah.
Just outside is it the shoemakers or is it the gunsmith's shop?
I'm not sure.
There's always bikes for like 30 quid.
Yeah.
Just outside, and you can go and buy one.
Yeah, literally just don't get into like a routine of like cooking cheap instant meals and sitting around. It's the easy way to like do it because uni takes a lot of effort, but look after yourself, you'll be able to manage that like effort a lot better. But yeah, eat well and move around, like I said, even if it's just walking, just for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah,
it's not even like you have to eat well for every meal.
No.
You can get your cheap filler meals with your instant noodles. Just make sure you at least have a wholesome meal a day.
Yeah.
And that will make such a difference.
Yeah.
You can't even underestimate.
Yeah.
I mean, we are what we eat. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a famous saying for a reason.
And again, there's like, as we were saying in a previous episode as well, there's like so many independent food places. All these places are like made to order sort of things, so you can go and get like, if you want to spend a bit more, like when you go out for a meal or whatever, go somewhere like independent. You didn't have to like go to like fast food chains or big restaurant chains where it's all like packeted.
The independent food shops as well, I don't even find them that expensive.
No.
If you just get in for yourself, once a week, it's fine. Like, and you get a proper cooked meal from like 90% of the places that you visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. I think we went into a bit of detail on how we maintain. Just try to eat well. Express your feelings. I mean, you'll be surrounded by people here in Sheffield, and at times that can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it is important to believe that we all do go through it as well.
Yeah.
We can feel like we're closed in a box in a very noisy environment, and that everybody, is in. Everybody's okay but you, and and that kind of thing. And
It's not true.
in reality, we're more alike than we probably realise sometimes.
Yeah,
100%.
and I think it is like when you first come to uni as well. Like it's very overwhelming. Like you'll want to go out all the time. You always want to be doing stuff with your friends and that. And like obviously that's fine to do. Definitely make most of your time.
Yeah.
But if you're ever feeling like just take that moment to like listen to yourself. And if you like actually want to stay in or I want to chill out a bit, then just do it.
Yeah.
Like you're not missing out on anything.
It's
You're not
the-
going to miss like
And it's not wrong.
nothing's gonna
There's
happen.
misconceptions are like, if you stay in and people calling you boring and all this stuff, take that, you take time for yourself.
yeah.
Just, you don't have to go out every single night. And the drink doesn't help either because,
No.
we all go out and we enjoy a drink and we enjoy stuff that we do when we're out. And yeah, that's all right. But don't be doing that every night
And it's also going to like
because it adds to
affect
it.
you financially as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast.
Thank you.
My name is Rogan.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Connor.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.